Now we're recording video. Hi, welcome.
Okay.
All right. Look, there's no need for any more preamble. We're going to click clapper. Get into it. Yes, this is. Does it say Two Blokes Talking Tech on there?
We've made it. I think we've made it.
I think we've officially made it.
Take one, Mark.
Are we children?
I think we've
Are
made
we
it.
children? They're all looking at us going, look at these idiots.
I think we've made it.
Just so you know, for everyone in the room before we start the proper show, this is our 500. What number is it?
588, I think.
588th show. Okay, so it's not. We are experienced, but we are just like kids in a candy store. Anyway, Stephen, we're not here to talk about your battery woes. We're here for a very specific reason.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Two Blokes Talking Tech
Not a bad price.
with Trevor Long from EFTM.com
Really handy device.
and Stephen Fennick from techguide.com.au.
Thanks to the great people at Netgear and Arlo, and of course to the people at Apple, who we are guests of here in the United States of America and guests in the Worldwide Developers Conference 2023 podcast studio. They move this every year, Stephen.
I know. I thought we would be where we were last year.
You wanted
They
to
like
be in the
keep
ring.
It, they
You
like
wanted to be
keep
in the
this moving.
spaceship.
Of course.
Do you think it says something they put in the fitness centre for us?
Maybe trying to tell us something.
I've been here for meetings about like the Apple Watch before and feel really uncomfortable. One fat bloke talking to some skinny person about an Apple Watch. It's awesome. Anyway, Worldwide Developers Conference 2023. We're gonna run through the show. We're gonna run through everything that was announced. Now, we should headline this with there is obviously one more thing which we're going to leave to the end.
There was one more thing that we'll describe what it is.
Yeah, of course.
It's
exactly what I said it would be. Do you want to say that?
Well, we were sort of on the track.
Wrong.
No, we were both on track, but there was the rumor's been around for a long time that there was going to be some kind of headset, some sort of VR, AR, mixed reality, I think it was called, and that what we got was the new Vision Pro, which just briefly I think is like heralding a new form of computing. They're talking about spatial computing.
Yeah.
So the iPhone allowed us to do stuff on the go. The Mac allowed us to be creative and productive where we were, but this is a whole new thing.
Wherever you are, a very different form of interacting with content, apps, and pretty much entertainment as well. So we'll cover that in the same order, essentially, that Tim Cook and the team did at the keynote. So let's kick it off at the top, and something you were frothing for, other than Bob Iger from Disney, a 15-inch MacBook Air. And I find this one fascinating because I was thinking, you've obviously got a solid lineup of laptop computers already from Apple. And now 15-inch MacBook Air simply adds size to the existing MacBook Air. Who's the market for a MacBook Air? Is it just someone who doesn't have the budget for a Pro, or is it because you know that you need that size screen and you just need a entry level but still high performance computer?
I think the size of the screen gives you the extra screen real estate for you think about now this is M2, don't forget, so it does provide a bit of power to do your photo editing, video editing. So I think if you want to mix up what you're doing rather than being limited to the smaller screen, then absolutely the 15-inch was naturally the way to go.
And
this would be my next computer.
Yeah,
I would be using this. I like a bigger screen.
I said that to someone from Apple today at the hands-on looking at it. I mean, I love having a Pro laptop, but I think what I do, like DaVinci Resolve or editing that I do on a laptop, could absolutely be nailed.
I think this would easily handle it with the M2 chip on board.
So the Air signifies something very important. It goes back to the original Air being announced, really. It's about size and weight. This is 11.5 millimetres thick, 3.3 pounds, which is going to be, what, a kilo and a half?
1.51 kilos.
You've looked it up. Or do you know that because your scales are in pounds? You need
that was on the official spec sheet, and has a similar, obviously, the fanless design as the 13 as well. But it is now the thinnest 15-inch laptop in the world.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
which is desirable, right? I think a lot of people want for a product that is super portable, and weight is such like you bag me for not wanting to have a big phone or things like that. But you think about the size of laptops that we carry around. It's wild how big some of them are. Yeah. So this is super portable, genuine portable laptop.
You got to remember too that it's not just all work. This is also stuff that keeps us entertained as well. So there's a 6-speaker system on board as well. Yeah. And that larger screen will no doubt come into play when you want to watch your content.
5mm border around the edge. So this is again, it's about pushing the boundaries generally of any screen.
It's actually 15.3 inches.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's not 15, 15.3.
You just got to show off with your decimal points.
It is bigger. But is it 13? 13.3?
Actually, don't know.
There you go.
No. Someone will look that up and then wave. 1080p camera, because that's improved over the years. Remember, it was quite embarrassing kind of during COVID that there was very few laptops out there that did 1080, despite the fact that the technology had moved to that point. So
absolutely
ticks all those boxes. And on the side, MagSafe, 2 USBs,
two Thunderbolts,
USB-Cs or Thunderbolts,
headphone jack.
and headphone jack on the other side. So it comes in a bunch of colours.
And the 13 obviously is going to still be on sale.
We've spent more time talking about that than I think Apple did.
Yeah,
like it was a fast-paced start to the show.
So the M2 13-inch I think starts at $17.99.
Yeah, so
let's talk about
range.
the 15 inches starts at $21.99, $19.99 for education.
Yep.
But also now the 13-inch starts at $17.99.
Yep.
$16.49 for education, and the education pricing is important because this would be very popular among school students and uni students. So
I don't even know how you qualify for education. You just got to produce a high school card, or what do you
if
do?
You're a teacher or a student, you can. You need to prove that you are going to a school or university.
Might have missed a chance there for $100 off a computer.
Well, I didn't go to university, so I didn't qualify. But yeah, I think this is going to be, and it's out next week.
Yeah, audit today, out next week.
Yeah, boom.
So then, fast forward to your favorite. Am I right to say your favourite Mac is the Mac Studio?
It is. That's what I use at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got that connected to two big 43-inch displays.
And so so MacBook Air 15 is a brand new product because of the size. Mac Studio is this generation. You know, it's updated with M2 Max and M2 Pro silicon. So you've now got those options. So I sat there during this thinking, and we'll get to this, but I sat during this thinking, hang on a minute, this thing is now with the Pro chip, the Ultra chip, it's basically, why would you ever need a Pro device? Like, you think about what Pro brought in all the different Pro products in the Mac range over the years. Honestly, Mac Studio with the M2 Ultra chip, what on earth more do you need, right?
Yeah, well, I think, that's one level, but I think the Mac Pro, which we'll talk about in a second, that's really gone. It's just ridiculously powerful, the Mac Pro. Do you see all the add-ons for that?
So stats for the Studio, 24-core GPU, 20% faster than the M1 Ultra, the same, 30% faster GPU than the M1 Ultra, and the GPU and CPU is critical for when you're doing things like video processing, rendering, stuff like that, right? So you get a huge leap forward in one generation.
Well, I think having the M2, it's M2 Ultra now, isn't it? So that's, and this we were sort of anticipating this earlier in the year. So I think it was March last year when the Mac Studio was unveiled, and I'm thinking, well, the fact that they haven't updated in March made it a certainty to be updated here.
Have you ever shot anything in 8K?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, on a smartphone.
Yeah, I know the one.
Yeah.
Whose
name I won't mention in this building.
Just because of the hospitality, we'll keep that to ourselves.
I won't mention that name.
But I was thinking about it. So there's two things about this that you look at the screen and you think that is just absolute. You could say it's a contest of sorts, the peeing contest, but it's phenomenal that you could do 22 streams of 8K ProRes in an edit. Now, I don't know is that enough? I don't know how many people are doing three streams.
What's the saying? How many yachts can you water ski behind? How much do you want?
And while you're showing off, right? Yep. While your big ego's out, and I've got I've filmed 22 streams that need to be edited together. Plus, I've dropped them in a timeline. Now I'm gonna hook up 6 Pro display XDR displays, 6 of them in a daisy chain off this one device.
So that's the Mac Pro, isn't it? We're talking about.
No, you can do that on the Mac
the Ultra.
Yeah, okay, you can do that on the Mac Studio with the
show
Max
off
Ultra.
much.
Yeah, exactly. Like, could you imagine sitting with 6 displays around you?
I've got 2 rather large displays, but
I'm pretty sure that
6 would be next level.
Wouldn't that be, instead of the Vision Pro, you just get 6 displays around you? But if you could afford 6 displays, you could.
It'd be a 360 setup, wouldn't it?
It'd be pretty full on. But I guess you could stack them, right?
Yeah.
You could have top
2 and 2 and 2. How would you do it?
I think 2 rows of 3.
Yeah,
that's what I'd do.
That's what I just said. 2 and 2 and 2.
It just sounded wrong.
2 rows of 3.
2 and 2 and 2.
But does it work with? Is it the XDR?
Yeah, mate. It's got to be the right compatible display. You're buying premium.
So good luck. Is that right? Good luck with other monitors.
And so then Studio gets the tick, and then out comes the Pro. The Pro's back.
Yeah.
So it didn't disappear, but it felt, and it still feels to me like it's a suit. This is probably one of the most niche products because you've got to want for PCI interfaces. This thing's got 6 PCI interfaces, 2 HDMI outs, 2 display ports out. I mean, seriously, it's wild.
Yeah.
I honestly don't understand. But
Like
I'm not in that
who do you
level.
think? Like I reckon, like if you're maybe like a Lucasfilm or something, like visual effects.
Everything
or
has to come back to
something.
bloody Star Wars, doesn't it?
But you know what I mean? It has to be someone that uses rendering and so much computing power that this would be able to keep up with it, but also then improve their capability of what they can produce.
Yeah. I just think for most people, it's not something you'd ever imagine. Plus, I haven't looked at the website, but I think the starting price is going to be near the 10, and imagine specking it up with all the cores. So M2 Ultra, 24 core, up to 76 core GPU.
Yep.
Three times faster than an Intel-based Mac Pro. Because obviously this is the market now. They're the people.
Well, because the previous how long
people
ago
that
was the
invested in
previous
an
model?
Intel-based Mac Pro, and now
How long ago was that?
A long time.
It was like
that's a lease ago. These are computers that you lease, by the way. You ain't shelling
Really?
out.
Yeah.
You seriously?
You're doing very well. You'd be able to afford one of these.
In a business, you'd lease this. It's about as expensive as your new car, probably. I said that. 2 HDMI ports, dual 10 gig Ethernet, Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.3, rack mount, up to 192 gigabytes of unified memory. I mean, there's specs that...
If it had wings, it could fly.
And someone out there will go, I can build a PC with an Intel Xenon processor or whatever the heck. But
it'd take a lot.
The thing is, it'd take a lot. It would be expensive to match these specs. And, mate, this is out of the box. You could just spec it up on the website. I think that's the reason why.
And similar design. Have you noticed the similar design?
The cheese grater. We say that here. Cheese grater.
But I think that you can also have it like as a tower, and also rack mounted as well. Yeah.
So I think that's super niche, but it's an important product for them.
Yep.
So that's pretty much max in a run, isn't it?
So the run of the event was it had some hardware announcements first.
Yes, it was all hardware at the start.
It was hardware, and then we got into all the updates for iOS 17, iPadOS 17, and Mac OS Sonoma.
Didn't you think that the starting off iOS 17 with we're going to update, or we're going to talk about updates to 3 of the most used and most important apps, phone, FaceTime, and messages, was like, okay, this is, you got my attention now. Because it's like sometimes...
That's what you do most on your phone, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. And maybe, I'm not suggesting it is, but I feel like they're the most neglected parts of the thing, because phone just works, right?
Yep.
What could you do differently on phone? Before they went to anything, what did you think phone would be that's different?
I had a feeling it was going to be what they announced.
Oh,
no, so honestly, after what we saw with the Pixel, the screening of the calls, that was kind of like something that was missing, and here we go.
They kicked it off though with the personalities. What are they calling posters? Your personal
your contact posters.
Contact poster.
Yeah. So that you can trick up your photo and your font.
It's like using Canva. It's like a little in your contact profile to set up how you want people to see you when you call them. Now we should be clear that we're talking about iOS 17 features, nearly all of which require both ends of the conversation and the usage to be iOS 17. So let's say I set up, think about your lock screen in iOS 16, how you could use a portrait photo, have the clock underneath your head and all that kind of stuff. You can now create your contact poster. It might be your cartoon emoji. It might be a
photo of yourself. Yeah.
And you can set it up with the different fonts, colors and everything. And you save it. And that becomes the way you're represented in your contact. And then if you call
someone, that's what they see.
That's what they're going to see. Now, I don't know how that works.
Well, it's like iMessage. You know how they can see the blue bubble.
Yeah, but here's what I want to know. The first thing I'm going to test is get a random iPhone with iOS 17, and then.
Well, if they're in your contacts.
Well, that's my thing. Does it appear for anyone, or does it only appear?
I think it's for people who are in your contacts. So if it's like you're knowing the incoming number, they'll just get that metadata with the call.
Yeah.
Are people nodding around us saying, yes, Steve's right? Steve's right. Is that what they said? Yes.
Steve's always right, even when he's wrong.
Don't you reckon that's how it'll work?
So the thing,
if someone's in your contacts? Yeah.
I think it must be in your contacts. I want it to work for anyone. Okay. I want it to work for anyone you call. Well, but again, how does that happen at a network level?
That leads us to our next feature, which is name drop.
Yes.
So if I'm not in your contacts.
Great name.
And if you want, say you were like, how many times have you said, oh, here's my number.
Never.
Dial my number.
Why would I give anyone my number? That would mean communicating with people.
If you want to share your number, then you can use name drop. And so your contact poster, so you've got it set up, you can put your phones near each other.
Yeah.
And then away
So
you
you
go.
put your there's been apps or processes where you like send money to each other and stuff like that over the years that people try and create. But this is simple. iOS 17 to iOS 17. You've met someone. You simply place your phone. So instead of, I think what apparently happens when you give someone your number is you hand them your phone and they dial their number and they hit dial and so you kind of save it and all that kind of stuff.
That's my number. Save it. Yeah.
This plays on the contact poster and says, right, I'm going to tap my phone on yours and it's going to exchange. It obviously gives you the option and says, do you want to send it and stuff? But it allows you to exchange your contact poster phone to phone. And that means that you don't have to do anything else. It's just really tap and go. And here's what's, I think, great is that they've gone, we've got this kind of, they're obviously using the NFC chip to initiate the AirDrop process, but they're calling it name drop.
Name drop.
But AirDrop also takes benefit of this same thing. So you can now, like if I took a photo, remember today we were sitting there in the event and you said it's 9:41, which is an iconic time for iPhone announcement. It's on the screenshots of everything. You said, oh, let's take a photo of it. So you held up your phone. I took the photo on mine. And then instead of me opening up share, clicking on AirDrop, I just put my phone to yours in theory and it will initiate the AirDrop. But they took AirDrop to the next level and said, look, let's say I've initiated the transfer of 40 photos, 3 videos. We have to sit next to each other for 10 minutes while that transfers. Now, I don't want to sit next to him for this show, let alone for another 10 minutes. But it'll basically, if I walk away, so it initiates the transfer, and then as I walk away, it uses my mobile or Wi-Fi, the internet, to keep sending you
the connection,
the full resolution
That's really
photos.
Cool. That's cool.
And so you could be...
So you're not locked in to...
You could be an hour away from me, and the whole thing would have continued, and you'll get a notification
so we
saying
can
the
start
finished.
the transfer, and then we can go along on our own way, and then
so I don't have
it's
to
all
spend
done.
it
So it's all done through. So
do
do you need Wi-Fi? So it'll work through cellular. The cellular network.
I just said internet.
Yeah, right.
So if you're on a Wi-Fi network at the office...
So if I leave, so say we're recording and I drive away, and we've started the share,
That's exactly
it'll
right.
continue.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, which is awesome.
There's
now
no
the feature
escape.
you referred to at the start of this conversation about phone was, and we demonstrated on the show when I had the Pixel.
Yes.
I was trying to explain to you call screening. So if someone rings and on a Pixel it says call screen, you press it, and then if they're speaking to that's what that's for, mate.
Okay.
If they're speaking to the what they think is voicemail, it appears as a script on the screen. So Apple now have this thing, what's it called, live voicemail.
Live voicemail.
And so
I like the examples they gave where, say you're in a meeting and you need to take a call.
Yeah.
So rather than just saying, I'm in a meeting, I can't talk, you can just hit live voicemail and then see the live transcription.
So let's use an example. We're sitting, you know what? This is a good example.
Yeah.
My wife and kids are at Disneyland. Now, they're on their own.
Half
they're doing their
their
best. I'm sure they're having a great
They
time.
go to Galaxy's Edge or not?
I'll read you them.
I hope so.
Jackson went front row, right seat, loved it.
Good.
Said, thanks, Uncle Steve.
Good.
So let's say something happened, though. Like it's one of those moments where it's like, instead of getting 15 missed calls, send them to voicemail. And then Amanda says, I know you're busy, but you need to call me because whatever, right?
Yep.
You know, the app's not working, money's run out, or someone's hurt, right?
Yep.
I would stop everything, obviously,
course,
but I'm not going to stop everything here now to go and just take a call on the whim of her going, oh, Dumbo was a good ride. So that's a use case for it, right?
I thought there was great examples they chose for that one.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah. I think it'll take a while to get used to, though.
It will.
But here's how I've pitched it. I've pitched it as going back to our generation, going back to the 80s and 90s with answering machines. Someone would ring you home. It'd ring 3 times. It'd go beep. The Fennec family's not home right now. Leave a message.
Pick up.
And it'd be like, hey, it's Trev. Are you there? Are you there? Pick up. I'm calling about the food or whatever. And you'd go, no, bugger him. Don't answer it, right?
No,
but now it's bringing that back, so you can screen your calls on your answering machine.
Wow.
They should have called it answering machine screening or something like that.
Oh no, I like that name because it's the name is what it is.
Okay, fair enough.
That's handy. Well, speaking of messages, what about FaceTime messages? So
how many people do you FaceTime?
Yeah, a few. I FaceTime my wife when I'm away.
What about someone's ringing me now?
Yeah.
I can't send it.
No live voicemail.
No live voicemail. Unbelievable.
Damn.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, I think the FaceTime message is pretty cool.
So we've done some FaceTimes lately. Amanda's mum's been sick, and so we'd FaceTime as often as we could. If she doesn't answer, this is the way for the kids to just leave a little little video message that they'll then see in their phone, which is awesome. So
what about the expandable menu to share your stuff on messages?
Yeah, I mean basically,
so it goes up the
let's
side
be
now?
real. They're bringing messages up to WhatsApp and Telegram and other standards. Things like swipe to reply, location in the thread, all this kind of stuff is great. But where they set it apart is check-in. So you've got the ability, let's say, your daughter is walking home from an event.
Yeah.
She texts and says,
that's a smart feature.
I'm going to be home in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
She starts a check-in process, and I assume it knows where she's got to go and how long it's going to take. And so if she's halfway through the walk and it's taken a lot longer, it'll actually send her a message just kind of checking in to see if she's still okay and everything. And if she obviously doesn't respond, then it'll alert you. Well, I think
and based on her location and all that. So
safety features like that.
Yeah, well, that's important, isn't it? Improvement across the board there.
I'll give the iOS 17 award to standby mode.
Standby, yeah, this is funny. So when you put your phone's on a MagSafe charger, it's got to be resting
like
on its side.
Like one of those Belkin ones that kind of elevates it.
So it can then it turns into like a display with it's a clock or your notifications, and date and all that. So rather than just being a black screen, you can get some info. So this is like a bedside table feature.
I'll read you a message that Jackson sent while he was at Disneyland. So this is how important it is. Hey, Dad, with standby mode, so he's obviously read the article. Well, it's weird. But anyway, with standby mode, can I have my phone in my room now as my alarm clock? He's not allowed to take his phone to his room.
Any excuse. Yes.
It's like, I said, we'll discuss that because it'll obviously require some additional downtime and app restrictions for the phone to be in your room. But that's exactly the thing, right? So in the bedroom, it's a great alarm clock. But also, think about it as a competitor in the kitchen to Alexa Show, Google Nest.
Smart speaker,
You put a MagSafe charger in the kitchen. You put your phone there on landscape mode. It's showing you the time. It might play music. Yep. You might play music to a smart speaker, but it's showing on the screen.
And you can use your voice to activate it, which you don't need to say, "Hey Siri," by the way now. You just need to say Siri. Did you do that?
It's revolutionary.
Does that change? Oh, hang on, your watch is reacting already. Anything else reacting?
Siri's going nuts already. I think standby mode will go really well.
I agree.
Very popular. And for me, because I do use my phone sitting on a MagSafe charger as my nighttime clock and alarm, perfect. Big fan.
Can I ask you this?
Yep.
Are you going to use the journal app, mate?
Nope.
You're not going to express your gratitude each day? That's what it was for. So
I'm grateful to Zach for creating the podcast studio every time we come to Apple Park.
Apparently there's studies to show that if you do journal, it's an improvement on your mental health.
Have you ever journaled?
No.
I'm not going to lie.
Maybe that can explain why I am like I am.
They said, because they did say there was studies to say that I support that. And let's be real, I think it's true. I think if you look at the current trend in just openness and stuff like that, and also it's a generational thing. Our generation, less open with each other than the younger generation. Your kids would be far more open with their mates than we ever were with ours.
You think so?
I believe so.
What do you mean open as in?
Maybe your kids are too old, but I'm thinking about John Boy. He used to come to CES, right?
Yep.
He's super open with his mates about everything, right? And I think that helps their mental health. But I think there's a generation of people who probably could do with a bit of a.
But in this
journaling.
instance, you're able to use. Your activities throughout the day. You might have done some exercise, and so it's an interactive.
What the phone knows about
journal.
You to prompt you to journal. Like it would see Jackson might show a whole bunch of photos he took at Disneyland, and tonight it might say to him, not obviously because it's not running on iOS 17, but it might say to him, prompt him to journal these photos.
Have a look at this
and make a note about it. Because the thing about Facebook, Instagram, and even the photo app surfacing old memories, right? It does it so often. It's great, but it doesn't give you anything other than the picture, which is great because it's so triggering your memory. But maybe the idea is to then be able to go back and reflect on how you felt that day.
You need to be proactive and do it.
I look forward to reading your journals. Privacy is at the heart of the whole thing.
Shall we talk quickly about iPadOS 17 and how you can now configure your lock screen like the iPhone? So you've got a bigger canvas for your lock screen. Widgets have improved too across not only iPad but also macOS.
Yes.
macOS as well, so they're interactive. You can put them on your wallpaper, and they like blend into the wallpaper.
Also,
so they're not
across
too distracting.
iPadOS and iOS, autocorrect is updated. And my favourite part of the whole day was Craig Federighi bringing up everyone's biggest problem.
Our ducking autocorrect.
A ducking problem. All right, it'll know when you're having a ducking problem.
Yeah, I think I remember. Why I would never use the word ducking in this instance. Like, why would you do that?
Imagine it learnt so much about the way we speak that you send a message going, I was at baseball today and lucky I was ducking down to avoid the ball hitting me, and it said something else when you send it to your family.
Okay.
There are occasions where it's important.
Yeah, not for me, mate.
Yeah,
the widgets, PDF. Sorry, I like this one. So how often have you had to fill out a PDF?
Often. I get them like every week.
I had to do that for my new car, the contract for the car, and had to sign here and dated here and everything.
Yep.
So this comes in handy if you want to.
And then get a bag of cash in a brown paper bag. Is that how it worked?
No.
Okay.
But if you want to sign the document, normally that's where people get stuck if they need to sign the document.
Yep.
Like you can either use a saved signature or you can just do a freshie with an Apple Pencil. A fresh one, a fresh signature.
A freshie. Okay, fair enough.
But I think I reckon this is one of the biggest improvements for iPad is the Health app.
Yeah.
Having the Health app on there, because it does give you like more detail in the redesign of the app and sort of optimize for that larger screen.
Yeah.
And so that any more access to your health data, I think that's great.
I read iPad OS 17 as being bringing the best of iOS 16 to iPad. Don't you reckon? Like live activities, a lot of that stuff.
Maybe.
Essentially, it's bringing it to a device that it couldn't come to last year. Lock screen, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
Mac OS, look, I'm not going to lie.
My favourite feature.
Once they got to the name, I started writing an article.
I thought it was. Is Napa in California? Is Napa in California? It is, isn't it?
No,
when they were talking about wine and everything, it's got to be Napa.
The alcoholic in the room was nodding, ladies and gentlemen. We won't name names.
So Sonoma is the new name, but I like the feature that stood out for me was the video conferencing effects. Like so
the one where you're on a call and you do thumbs up, two thumbs up, and it explodes.
Little bit thing of confetti.
Fireworks.
Yeah, I think that'd be funny. I would love if you can do your presentation, you can be either you have your little head in a video bubble up here.
You don't have a
or
little head,
you could be. No, you're right. Or you can be like standing in front of your content and. You can be really creative with your presentation.
Or you could just go to the event and present there.
Well, it's not always possible.
No, the camera reactions are pretty cool. I do like, well, you mentioned the widgets. I do like that there'll be widgets and shortcuts also. It's like Siri shortcuts can be created for things that you do. So some apps will allow you to drag files over and just do a whole shortcut process, which, by the way, just like macros, right? It's just a way of doing things in an automated way.
Just lastly, on the Mac OS, the screensavers. The new, like Apple on Apple TV,
right?
Slow motion above Arizona and Hong Kong.
How do they film those? Drones?
With a very slow helicopter. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Can we get an answer on that one, please?
No, I reckon they film it at normal speed and then just slow it down.
No.
Yeah. Because there's nothing.
Not a chance.
There's usually nothing in the photo to just there's nothing in the video like cars and things.
What's your favourite one?
Is there one that do over Dubai? I think is that one on.
I'll go with LAX.
LAX, yeah.
There's one that flies over LAX over the right hand side of the terminals, all the way up from Terminal 9 all the way up to Tom Bradley. It's very nice.
Right.
I love my planes, as you know.
You are a plane spotter, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. Yeah, very good.
Well, now that we've come to that point in the show, Trev, where we really need to talk about the
elephant in the room.
Well, but what?
You don't have any thoughts on WatchOS?
You don't need to say that about me.
You don't have any thoughts on WatchOS, Stephen?
WatchOS, well, I like how you can access your data. It's easy to get to your stuff at a glance.
Yep, I would say a couple of things. Cycling, the integration with sensors on a bike.
And Bluetooth
is a big deal.
Accessories and stuff.
Snoopy, I'll be using that watch face. Big fan. That's about it. That's all I've got.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Peanuts.
But again, with the greatest respect to the people who run the show, by that time I needed to write some articles. So
I was I was paying attention. I think you were typing away furiously.
I was not.
I was still paying attention.
And then came.
But this was very.
So at the end of end of WatchOS, it went back to Tim.
Yes.
And I tell you right there and then, we all looked at our watches and went, hang on a minute, it
wasn't 9:40.
It's like 11:20 or something like that. So we're all thinking, if this is going to go 2 or more hours, we are way off the end here.
Yeah.
So this is not the end. And I pulled out I had a camera. Big camera, and everyone around us pulled out their phones.
Everyone
it was like
stood
we were
up.
ready.
Everyone
was ready. Yeah, you were heckling big time. No, that was at the start of the show. I was ready because it just felt like a one more thing moment.
It was. I think we look back at all the big products that Apple's announced over the years. We're going to look back on this day as being, we were there when they announced.
Yeah, like you speak about the launches of a bunch of different products.
Yeah.
And, we were at the Apple Watch launch, which was the last new product announcement. It wasn't the last one more thing, we should be clear, but it was the last new product category for Apple in 2014 here in Cupertino at a different location. And that's the Apple Watch is groundbreaking, right? Let's be clear. But this is potentially far bigger for the long-term future of the business and the technology world.
I feel like we've sort of stepped into a new phase of computing.
Yep.
And the speculation that we shared was that it was going to be kind of more of the same of what we'd seen in the past. VR, AR.
So yeah, I mean, I think
to me it seems quite original, how the concept and the execution.
so. Everyone in this space would argue differently about every part of it. Like I was talking to someone today. We've done a bunch of radio and TV, so you lose track. But someone was talking about like Facebook. Okay, MetaQuest is a big thing in the market, and is it better or different or whatever? And I'm like, it's very different. HTC would say they've got see-through. You can see the world around you, and the new MetaQuest has color see-through, but that's not the full, like it's there to be used. It's not there to be part of the process. Yeah. When you're in a MetaQuest, you're playing a virtual world, virtual reality. Yeah. There is very little augmented reality. HTC have a pretty cool augmented reality process. You know, the painting on the floor and you build things around you. It's good. It's there. But I'm sorry, the execution here is 10 out of 10. Yep. And I will claim a massive victory here. I'm sorry. I'm going straight down the barrel of victory here. Intern Bruce can look it up. I said, a couple of weeks ago when we talked about it, I said, theirs will be far more like Microsoft HoloLens than it is like HTC or MetaQuest.
I can remember you saying that. I can remember that.
Well, hang on, it's on camera. Yeah. Sorry, just look down the barrel.
I can remember him saying that.
Can you say yes. I was right?
I agreed with you. I didn't disagree with you. I just was part of the conversation, but very good.
Can't say I was right, but that's fine. That's totally fine. But it's a fully immersive experience. Now, it's strange to me, and I don't understand at all that if I'm wearing it and you walk into the room, you'll be able to see my eyes.
I'll see your eyes.
And when we first saw it, I thought, oh, that's interesting, but you can see through it. Yeah. But it's not see-through. That's screens.
It's a virtual
screens pointing outwards, showing what my eyes look like on the inside, because I'm staring at postage stamp style screens that have more pixels and more resolution than a 4K bloody TV at home.
Well, let's talk about that.
It's wild.
They're micro OLED screens and have between them 23 million pixels.
But who's counting?
That's more pixels than your 4K television.
Yeah.
So you
can echo in here?
It's 4K HDR quality. So I think,
and they're sitting right in front of your eyes. So you're looking at postage stamp size screens, but the resolution is what gives you that sense of reality. But I guess the problem here is it's not just about I think of Epson, you know, those little things that have the little lenses in them. Yep. The difference here is they've created this whole embodiment of the product where the lenses are, the screens are there, and then they've created these amazing lenses that give you the ability to look at them as if it's the real world around you. Yeah. Then they've created the outward facing screens that allow people outside to see in. Then there's 12 cameras, 5 sensors, 6 microphones, so that you can be sitting on the lounge like we are now, sitting on a chair. And instead of holding a stupid controller, which you never know which way to hold because you've already put the headset on and you don't know which one to pick up, you're just sitting there, you use your eyes and your hands. So you look around the screen to navigate, and you use your hands to, swipe.
So you highlight with just looking at a dot.
I guess.
I think you click your finger, you just tap your finger.
But you don't have to hold it up in front of you. On a lot of them that have...
Sit down down in your lap. Yeah.
There are VR headsets that you can, do these things, to do stuff. Yeah. This is just sit normally. They said they want it to be a natural experience. And that's why you need 12 cameras, because you need the whole room to be captured and everything that's happening like gestures, which is just unbelievable.
And I think one thing that I reckon you could relate to, because you get a little bit queasy, don't you, using VR sometimes?
It's a hard no from me.
The zero latency or near zero latency. Yeah. So with the new R1 processor and how can display stuff 12 times far, or was it 8 times faster than an eye blink? So that what you're seeing is basically zero latency.
Now that's fine.
There's no lag.
R1 chip, right? That's exciting.
Yeah.
But that's just for the sensors and the cameras to reduce latency. There's an M2 chip in this bloody thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a standalone computer. Remember we were saying. Before they got to that part of the presentation, we were thinking, what power? What do you have to connect this to something?
There's a cable hanging down from it. I kept saying,
we kept thinking about that. Yeah, well, that's connecting to a battery pack, which we'll talk about in a minute. But this is its own standalone computer.
It's a computer on your head. It's screens on your head.
Vision OS
and a battery in your pocket.
Yeah, battery about the size of an iPhone.
It just looks like a Belkin battery pack. Do you know what I mean? It just looks like a portable battery.
Yeah, 2 hours charge.
2 hours.
So 2 hours runtime. Yeah,
which says a lot about what it's intended to be used for. It's not intended to be worn all day.
Okay.
It's not something. Although you probably could, because you could probably just plug it into a desk charger when you're at your desk.
A couple other things. I really like the fact that it could be what you want it to be. Do you want it to be just your virtual display monitor? Do you want it to be your virtual cinema? So if you want to watch your content, I think if you twist on the digital crown and it can actually just blank out the rest of your surroundings.
So it can be virtual reality.
Cannot be isolated
with your own choice of background.
Yep.
Can be augmented or mixed reality with your lounge room there. And there's so many amazing demonstrations in this. That I get that the rising tide lifts all boats, and this is good for the industry, which we talked about with like Thomas at HTC and stuff, right? But there's no way that Facebook and HTC are not looking at this going, that's very well
That's
executed.
pretty good, yeah.
Because so imagine you're sitting in your lounge room and you've blocked out pretty much the whole lounge room with, okay, I've got Netflix or Disney or Stan running over here, I've got my emails here, and I've got my messages over here. It's just like having a multi-monitor setup, right? They're all there. But then the thing is, they're all blocking out the view, right? Yeah. But someone walks into the room and it just kind of just slowly just moves your apps out of the way or fades them away so that you can see the person who just walked into the room.
And it appears there's no distortion, so that you can be interacting with people without making.
Well, that brings up the concept of 3D, because you got when you hand over a card or you're picking something up, you need to be able to you need to have a three-dimensional view on the world, right? And so that comes into the Disney conversation. Like Stephen got very excited at Bob Iger.
I think I whispered to you, this is going to be Star Wars for sure.
They had to show Star Wars, bloody Mandalorian and all that rubbish.
Absolutely.
Anyway, they mentioned 3D a bit there. So, like, are we going back to 3D now?
Well, there is a 3D camera on board.
Yeah.
So
but like 3D content.
Yeah. Well,
like you're going to be able to watch Avatar in 3D. In the Vision Pro.
Why not? If you build it, they'll come.
So but that's my point is, do you think we're going to see a resurgence of the 3D content?
Probably. Interesting to see that, Disney Plus is going to be there from day one.
Yeah.
And Bob Iger, who I'd love to see read the embargo that he signed not to tell anyone.
We said that. I said, imagine the embargo, because he goes, when I first used it, we're like, it would have been the size of the Bible. Like, seriously.
But I like how he's looked from day one, we're in, and they gave some examples of how you can watch like certain content, and there's other information. Did you see this? There was other information down the side. I think the Star Wars example was they were watching The Mandalorian, and there was all this other data about nearby planets and all this other information that was there as well. But no, this part that you would like too, and me. Yeah. There was like a multi-screen watching sport as well. So imagine that.
Mate, can we get a commitment from the MLB, please?
Yes.
Because I'm all in. But, Stephen, before we give a general thought on the whole market of the VR, it's $3,499 in the United States.
I know.
That's going to be $5 plus, probably near to $6 in Australia. That rules out a lot of people.
Yeah. That was in the first sentence when we said, what is it? And they go, how much is it? That was the first thing they wanted to find out.
It's a first-generation product, right?
Yep.
It's going to be expensive. You got to pay for 10 years of research.
We kind of anticipated this too. Any new tech's expensive.
Mate. Yeah. $4, $5, $6 grand.
Okay, well,
you are buying a computer in here, but what I think we haven't seen yet is the genuine daily use cases. And I've said a couple of times today, rewind to 2007. When the iPhone was a phone, an iPod, an internet communicator, right? And then fast forward to now when it is millions of apps that do millions of things.
Yep.
That's why this is critical. It's not available till next year.
Yeah.
We've basically got a theoretically...
Early next year, but for the US. So theoretically, we might not get it till
there's a year for developers to make something of it.
Yeah.
There's a year for developers to find out what it's going to do.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Who is going to use this?
Well, in the HoloLens competitive market, then it's great for industry because there are some amazing enterprise applications for, learning trades, learning equipment, fixing equipment, a whole bunch of things there. Education.
So it's a no-brainer that obviously gaming is going to be popular.
Yeah, so enterprise, entertainment, education, entertainment are big.
Yep.
But I don't think those things make a product. I think they sell a few and they sell enough. But how do you bring it into the home? Like all the examples where a lovely lady sitting on a couch, a bloke at his desk or at the kitchen. Like
the guy making the lunches or the breakfast wearing that as well.
Yeah, that's never going to
imagine the longs. You wearing that with how would your kids like that one? Or your wife?
Mate, that's the problem the product has.
Yeah.
That's the problem the product has.
Who's it going to fit?
Is this a generational change that allows for people to walk into their home and see their partner wearing a bloody headset and go, what the hell are you doing? I'm home. Pay attention. It's like you can still see my eyes.
Say, I can still see it.
Yeah, that's the generational shift.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's going to be, they said, Tim Cook said, revolutionary product. Is it going to be How quickly are we going to adopt to it? Are we going to adopt to it?
He said things like the revolution. He said it's a game-changing day.
Yeah.
He said it's the first product you can see, you look through.
Yep.
The first Apple product you look through, not at.
Yep.
He said a lot of amazing things, but I still haven't seen the mass general public use case, and that's its challenge. It's beautiful, by the way.
I think I remember when the iPhone first came out and the App Store first came out.
I was very young.
We're thinking that was 15 years ago. We were thinking about, well, look at all the uses of your phone now.
Yeah.
Could you have imagined that in 2008 when the App Store came out? Could you imagine all the things you can do on your phone today?
That's exactly.
So this is
what I said
like
earlier about developers.
Developers are they're gonna be thinking, wow, challenge accepted. We're going to have a go here and create something amazing for this.
So what do you see is happening now? Like you've got, let's call it 8 months for the rest of the market to go. We've got to do something before Apple comes out with this thing. The new MetaQuest has color pass through, and there's some. It's got more cameras.
I still pretty much think they're all pretty siloed in their own operating systems, though. We're still. I know that HTC has their own little version of this, and their own OS, and their own App Store, and all that.
Also, Facebook. Here's the big thing that happened today.
Yep.
The word metaverse was never used, and nor should it have been, because it's a stupid thing.
Yeah, I know. That's a Facebook thing, though. No, but why would Apple?
Metaverse is not a Facebook thing.
Well,
metaverse is something that Facebook
Meta.
has gone all in on. Yes, because they want to own the space, right?
Yep.
But Apple doesn't see it that way. Apple. Yep. So the biggest question I had during the demos was, hang on a minute, this is cool. You're doing FaceTime calls. What are they going to see? And they showed.
We were wondering that, eh?
Because imagine you're doing a FaceTime call and you're just seeing someone's eyeball or something. I don't know. How's that going to work?
I think that's what you asked me. What are they going to see? I said, well, your eyeball.
But they showed a really cool demo. So obviously in the setup process, you hold the thing looking at you, so as if someone's in it. And it scans your face in such detail, obviously with cameras and sensors, that it creates a virtual you.
And as you react to it, it imitates your reactions.
Because the thing can see your eyes, it can give real eye movements to that digital you. My problem is the mouth is normally the thing that looks the worst in a computerized human.
Okay.
Any robotic vision AI, when they're trying to emulate voice, it's the thing that doesn't look right. So I wonder about that.
So do you think the person calling you and you answer it with the headset? Do you reckon they're going to know that it's? Oh, hang on, you're wearing the Vision Pro again.
I think they're going to know.
They're going to know.
Yeah, I think they're going to know.
Looked pretty good though. The render looked pretty good.
It looked great, but let's see it in the real. So here's the thing: the product is called what, Stephen?
Vision Pro.
So does this not set the stage in 5 years from now,
Pro
or
Max.
2 years
For a Pro Max?
No, mate, go backwards.
For people with bigger heads, Pro Max, that'd be for me.
Mate, you won't be able to fit the current one. In a couple of years
It does have adjustable
because
bands.
This is an early adopter product. This is a developer-based thing.
Yep.
Do you see a time, and I believe that this is the precursor to just an Apple Vision, something that's pared back.
Oh, so you mean something
more
smaller?
Affordable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Perhaps, yeah.
It might not be smaller, but it might not have as many cameras, or it might not have the quality of the screen or something. But that allows it to bring to
So you're saying
a folding phone is $2,500, right?
Yeah.
So that's not out of the realms of selling someone.
That's what I was saying.
The
iPhone 14 Pro Max is $2,500.
Yeah. So
it's not.
This thing's not going to come down in price. I'll tell you that right
No.
now. Apple
so you're saying there might be like a version that doesn't quite enclose you and give you it gives you.
I'm saying it's the same product with either less sensors or less cameras or whatever it is to make it more affordable.
Maybe
it becomes the Apple Vision, and then the Apple Vision Pro is the product that continues to set the benchmark for the top end of the market.
Perhaps.
Just perhaps.
Perhaps.
Because, mate, I'll tell you. Let me put this on the record.
Yeah.
If they can't bring out a cheaper product,
I know exactly.
It can't survive.
Absolutely. I think that it's at that price, it's out of the reach of most customers.
If this is a $5,500 product, which would be great, given the exchange rate, that's still way out of reach.
Absolutely.
They need a $3,000 product in Australia to make mixed reality. See, they didn't really talk about what the market is, what they're calling it. They didn't really. He talked about augmented reality a lot, and I said this last week. Apple have been in the augmented reality space in a big way, in a good way, with LiDAR sensors and all that stuff for years.
Great,
This was always the vision for it. I think they just had to bring it to the right point. It needed to hit the right level for them to bring it to market.
I expected a little bit more interactivity with your devices. I remember the one thing that we saw.
You open your MacBook, you look at the screen of your MacBook, and your MacBook screen appears in an augmented world.
Like your iPhone, you couldn't do that. Can't do that with the iPhone or the iPad.
Can't, or just wasn't demonstrated.
Maybe wasn't demonstrated. But so the idea of this is you look at a Mac screen and then suddenly you're looking at your stuff on that Mac.
It just comes. So the Mac screen goes black.
Becomes one of your
windows
displays,
in the virtual space is the Mac, which is amazing. Right?
No, that was impressive. Yeah. But I just envisioned a bit more interactivity between the devices and sort of that building up that ecosystem.
Bottom line, they didn't disappoint today.
Absolutely not. No, this is remarkable.
It would have been.
The reaction to this has been pretty.
We were very nervous that we were going to come and not get that because unfortunately it would have been a letdown. Even though there's some amazing features we talked about with the operating systems, it would have been a touch of a letdown. But
it's the reaction has been pretty mainly positive about this thing. And wow, the reaction I've had is from my readers is, wow, that's amazing. And then they get down to see the price and go, oh, okay, that's yeah.
I think you're either in the camp you'll try it or you're not.
Yeah.
And at this point, they've got to find that camp that will try it. They've just got to push into that.
Well, it's the early adopters who are willing to spend that sort of money who are going to be first at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
will you use something like that on a regular basis?
I would.
You've said that about every other VR.
Yeah, but and we've discussed this as well. There's been other VRs released, and they're great. They're a novelty, and then they're gathering dust on the shelf. This being able to
I wouldn't want $5,000 gathering dust.
Of course not, but sort of you being able to integrate this into your daily workflow, I think would be something that would make you want to use it more. And so if it becomes part of your daily routine, then perhaps,
I think they've got a big, steep climb ahead of them to make it work.
Yeah. Well, we've got it's going to be 6 months before it's out yet, so I'm anticipating there'll be probably more features and improvements before it actually comes out.
Yeah. So what's your guess on when it'll come out?
Well, they're saying early next year, so I reckon probably February.
That could be June.
February.
That's still early.
Early, is that right?
It's sort of the first half.
February, March. I don't think we'll get it in Australia for another year yet.
Really?
At least, yeah. Middle of the year at least.
Why would Australia be any different?
Well, it's going to be released in the US first, didn't they say?
They just said US price and time.
They said US and other countries to follow is what I heard.
Doesn't mean it won't be on the list first.
Well, I think it'd be another maybe next year.
Bitterly disappointed.
Next year's WWDC where we get Australian pricing and availability.
All right. Well, we thank the people at Apple for the podcast studio. I am off to London. I'll see you next week.
Back home,
to talk about all the other news that's happened that we've missed here on the show.
Plenty.
I haven't been paying any attention to anything else in the world. I haven't even checked my emails for a day and a half.
Me neither, yeah.
All right. There. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Leave a rating and review if you can on the Apple Podcast Store. And while you're there, tell a friend because no one else knows it's here if you don't tell them.
Yeah, 5-star reviews. We'll read them out too, won't we? Is that what we're still doing? 5-star reviews.
Yeah, I send them merchandise. What are you talking about?
I'll just give him a mention.
He's just
on the podcast.
He's just so cheap. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll be back in next week with another episode of Two Blokes Talking Tech. Thanks to the great people at Netgear and Arlo, and thank you to Apple for having us at WWDC.
Thank you.
Oh, that thing.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
Oh, we just went over.
5 seconds over we went.